So, first question is, well, what is return to spirit, or what is return to spirit? And like the name suggests, it's return to spirit. It's helping people return to their authentic self, to find the missing pieces of their life that could have been fragmented through trauma, um, past regrets, shame, all of it. It's all these things that hold us down affect the way we are presenting ourselves in the present. So with our spirit, we talk about the trauma, we talk about the pain, we talk about the loss, we talk about everything that we feel that others may judge us for, and then we lay it all out on the table and we begin to piece it all together because everyone has a story. And there are some good chapters and there's some bad chapters. There's some scary chapters and there's some amazing chapters. However, it's all compiled to shape you into the man or woman you are today. So Return to Spirit is about helping people reclaim their authenticity and realize that, hey, regardless of how people perceive you, you must be able to be rooted and grounded in who you are, and then connect to God, connect to higher source, however you identify to the creator as, and know how to keep yourself balanced. Okay, I guess that's question one. Question two, what inspired me to create Return to Spirit? Well, I can say the real inspiration came during my time in law enforcement. I loved my time serving, and that's one thing I realized that I do like helping people. There's some people who are called, chosen through whatever circumstances life happens, but there are those who fire burns for a certain activity, whether it be basketball, whether it be cooking, whether it be singing, whether it be healing, learning about mathematics and geometry. It's God has put a fire in all of us, and so when you hold on to that fire, you hold on to the authenticity that is yours, well, you begin to realize, how are you really utilizing that fire? And are you using it to the best of your ability? And so, yeah, in uniform, I got to protect people with a gun and badge. But at the same time, there are so much injustices, if I pronounce that right, so much things that didn't need to happen. So many things that because of governmental law, man's law, a lot of innocent men and women and children got hurt. We got to be honest. I was born in 91, so I know the history that happened before, and then we're living through it now. So there's no need to gaslight, because I also seen it for myself. I digress. However, I realized I was just a badge. Amazing man behind the uniform, praised here and there, but at the same time, you still see the uniform. I can still be the enemy because guess what? Your father is in jail because a man in uniform took him away for drugs that's now legal. Or got caught doing something that the rich and powerful don't get in trouble for, but because your last name don't mean nothing, you have a nice strong community, they get picked off by law enforcement men. Not because law enforcement men are technically bad, but you gotta answer, who pays the governmental men who are walking around with guns and badges? So there is a conflict of interest. People don't like to talk about that. Once again, I digress. Well, within seeing that I could be disposed and I was just a body in some circumstances, a courageous spiritual warrior nonetheless, I'm not alone. There's thousands of them who are wearing that uniform, who are trying their best to do good, and they're bending and sway, but the way this society loves to lie, cheat, manipulate each other, and then call the police when things go super left, fucks with a lot of people's mentality. It messes with their psyche, it messes with their connection to God, it messes with their connection to family, and then you just have a lot going on. And I realize, my identity of who I am as an individual is being sucked into this corporate machine, this corporate conglomerate. And then if anything happens to my family or me, yeah, there might be some flags and motorcades and crime, but the system continues to feed, especially on the youth. So with that on my heart, things just begin to, what's the word I'm looking for? Catalysts just kept happening. I'm kind of cutting short because, as you know, I'm a griot and I can talk. And so this one question, I can spend almost 20, 30 minutes on how I even got here. It's entertaining. I'm not pathetic storyteller, or well, let me say pathetic storyteller. I'm not one of those who give like boring details. Like, I can keep it interesting. However, for the sake of data and memory and not wasting you guys' time talking, I try my best to keep it narrow and short. But pretty much, I realized my power was always within me. And because the power was within me, I was realizing, why am I putting out so many fires? One, that I didn't start, I'm not a part of, continuing to, throw gasoline on. At the same time, there is so much responsibility and burden that shouldn't be put on officers. It shouldn't be put on men and women who are not going to be the beneficiary of this child or this man or this woman. We've completely disconnected from what community really is, and we're living off each other because of the dollar. I was like, no, my life belongs to me, and I'm not going to be exploited by the government, by a woman, by a corporation. I want to work with people who honor my light and who honor my ability to help them in the ways I can. And I honor them. And so with that, I realized, what's my mark on the planet? Yeah, there's going to always be stories of what you're doing, but what are you really going to be known for, if that's what you want? And then I realized, like, I need to create something that's me, that regardless if it goes to the sky and I become a multimillionaire, or I freaking crash out and burn and then I was left with nothing, it was, hey, he was authentic. He did what he said he was going to do. He tried his best, and the manifestation went up, it went down, had to start over again. However, there is something special when you're able to look yourself in the mirror and know that the things you're wearing, the things you build, the things that are coming to you was done not only with integrity, not only in an honest way, but it is profitable to yourself. It is beneficial to your community. It's beneficial to everyone around you. It feels good. And so with that, I was like, you know what? My skill is speaking. My skill is healing. Let me create a business where I can use my gifts that's already within me in a way that's now tailored to the way how I want to do it, on my rules as a sovereign soul. So hopefully that answered that question. What does return to spirit means on a personal level? I think that's kind of something in there, but yeah, return to spirit meaning standing on who you are unapologetically. And it's not just trying to say you step on, disrespect someone else's ideology, their religion, or anything like that. But it's like, hey, I'm a dragon, so when I get hot, I fly high. When I want to burn something, I burn. I go, I express myself. I do what I do because I'm expressing myself. And I do it not to step on toes. It's just like nature. Nature just is. So when you know how to be you, you know how to express yourself. When you're happy, when you're sad, and it's within balance. You also know how to utilize your dark when people want to, fuck around and find out. Guess what? You better be strapped if it comes to that. What you talking about? We're in the jungle. We're in the wild still. And once people don't know how to think right, because, they fueca, what we call it, yeah. With so many other words, I'm not even going into the whole phrase, but pretty much, yo, knowing your spirit is knowing your boundaries. It's knowing where you stand in life. It's knowing when to back away, when to move forward, when to go left, when to go right. That's your your eternal compass. And so return to spirit, it's about helping people find their own compass and go where you're liked, go where you're accepted, go where you thrive. This old world's about to collapse, so people are about to realize, yo, I'm only working with you because I gotta get paid because of X, Y, and Z. All these external shackles. But once the mind breaks, the heart breaks, where you just don't give a fuck no more, woof, none of it matters anymore. I promise you. There's so many people that I had to take to jail or who were dead and I had to do an investigation or just there because I was a 94. And it's like, wow, all this pain and trauma we're seeing in the hood, especially we're seeing, and even in the rich communities in another way, is because people are emotionally or mentally snapping because they hate the way they're currently living because they're not connected to their spirit. It is what it is. Drugs, sex, and money is good for so long, but that eternal imbalance, now that's the one you can't run away from, at least for too long. Next question. How can people reconnect with their authentic self? Well, this is where you gotta do a lot of shadow work. Now, you guys talk about shadow work. Shadow work is all the trauma, lies you told yourself, people told you, all the things that went negative in your life. And then you kind of sift through it to see, yeah, it was negative, but it was positive. It was negative and it really hurt me. And it's now changed the way I perceive men, the way I perceive women, the way I perceive X, Y, and Z. And then you have to come to terms with it and see how it shaped you and see how many decisions you made that were good or bad based on your trauma or whatever was going on. And so after you do the dark night of the show, the shadow work, where you realize, okay, these are your buttons. And when your button are pressed, whether for good or bad, these can be your actions that you'll take. And then you have to realize, okay, those are not too bad because, no one's going to get killed. No one's going to get hurt. No one's going to call the police on me. And there's times where it's like, ooh, I need to work on that, whatever that may be. And then once you realize all your triggers and then how to heal them and actually respond in a way that's not violent, you begin to then see the things you do like. The things you do like then help you realize how to attract those things more and more. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. You see, the bird even said it was like, yes. Anyways, so yeah. And so you begin to realize if I just do the things that actually bring me joy, stay away from the things and people that actually intentionally hurt me or make me sick, I begin to find new alternative things that other people find for joy that's actually joyful for me. And then you realize you're not alone. You go over here, you go to this market, you go to that yoga studio, you go to, and you're like, yo, I actually click with these people. It wasn't that I didn't like yoga. It wasn't that I didn't like sound healing. It wasn't that I didn't like basketball, whatever it may be. It was just the people who were presenting to me weren't my people. And so I associated the people with the activity and it was like, nah. However, when you move authentic, you realize people are going to people are going to judge you regardless. And so instead of allowing that to cripple you and then you just accept breadcrumbs or accept, a false identity and then you're faking it to yourself just to fit in, you realize, let me try over here. That doesn't work. Let me try over here. That doesn't go. Let me go over here. That's just right. So that's how we kind of find our authenticity. And then as we get older, as we begin to hear other people's life experience, you begin to gain nuance. And with that nuance, you realize, hey, man, there's a lot of ways to flow. And then when you learn there's many ways to flow, you find your own rhythm. Then when you find your own rhythm, you get on that own vibe with people who know how to get on the same frequency as you. So that's another question. How do you use crystals in your healing sessions? Well, for me personally, everyone uses crystals different, and everyone have a different response to crystals. People don't care about them. People look at them as fashionable items. People like to use them for grid work, spiritual healing, cleansing for themselves, a whole gauntlet. And so I like to tell people, don't focus on what that practitioner is doing. Don't focus on what your favorite athlete or a person you look up to is really doing it. You can learn from how they're using it, but ultimately it has to be intuitive. Crystals are intuitive. That was a bit long-winded. Yeah. So as you can see, I'm wearing a collection of my favorite. One of my favorites is Aqua Obsidian. Helps me keep me grounded as I speak with confidence and clarity. And then I have an extra boost of clarity in speaking, which is my Larimar, connecting me to the ocean, one of my first homes. And then I have my citrine, connecting me to my Leo and my fire, and just my abundance that I'm bringing in, hoping this video goes viral. And then next know y'all donate to me because this thing is not. Yeah, I'm about to go on a whole tangent. And then, I got my nice piece of Lemurian sea, Talenta, Akasha record, letting it flow through these braids and come down through the third eye And then from the third eye, I'm letting it release through the throat chakra because it's coming from the heart and it's living with love and abundance. And then I have my beautiful moldavite. Now, this is my special baby. This takes me to outer space. And then from there, I got my obsidian. So I showed you these crystals and then what I do with them. So, like I was kind of demonstrating earlier, the throat chakra amplifies my throat, amplifies my emotions to allow it to flow. Now, when you're using throat chakra energy or communication energy, it's kind of making you want to be porous and to let things out and to let things in. It's more of the receptive energy. And so, when your people are wanting to be more open, like, you know what, let me be more open because I know I can be kind of closed off. And it's not because you're a bad person, just because maybe you went through life, or, you know, it's just it's your archetype. I will wear my Larimar today on this date so I don't be stuck up. Or I'm gonna wear this piece when I do my presentation so I'm able to communicate. I know all the information, it's just the fear of letting it out. And then from there, people like to use grounding stones. I like obsidian. Obsidian keeps away all those negative, bad energies. And so when people are looking at you like, oh, he fucks up, or oh, he just said that word wrong, blase, blase. It's, whew, let me not let all those negative perceptions get to me. Let me not absorb them, and it makes you know I'm perceiving them, because it does happen when you're in a egregore of a group. Thoughts and emotions do affect people. And so you can see why the energy frequency and vibration of this planet and the foods and the music and the television and things we see constantly is lower, because it's keeping us in a lower psychological, emotional, and spiritual state. So crystals help block out a lot of those bad energies. And at the same time, it allows you to bring in those good energies, because just like you have firewalls and, you know, different passwords and stuff like that to keep people from getting into your, you know, pictures. You already know. Or getting into sensitive documents is, hey, there needs to be form of protection. Well, how do you keep people from exploiting your love, exploiting your kindness, exploiting the things that you don't really quite see happening, because they could put on a fake smile, they have the energy of something looking good, but your gut is like, then your gut is like, it's like, what is that? It's like, see, if you have some lapidozuli, or I like to have me some, you know, blue tiger's eye. At the same time, I have my appetite, and then of course I got the lapidozuli. I'm like, yo, I see you, bro. What you trying to do? My third eye is open, baby. And now I'm gonna let all this wisdom come in through, I can say it, the Lemurian. At the same time, I'm grounded, and I'm gonna do it with love. All this wisdom come in to now bob and weave in the spiritual energy sense of saying, you know what, let me listen to you, but let me just not give in completely. Because that's what the crystals do for me. Hopefully I didn't go on a tangent and I lost you there. I'm going to keep saying that because I can go down the rabbit hole. And when I go deep, baby. And a lot of people can't handle that. And a lot of people are like, yo, what he's talking about? I sound like I'm just saying a lot of weird things. But those who know how to flow, they know. Yeah, they know. And I'll do one more. Mm-mm-mm. How can someone tell if they're spiritually disconnected? Well, your life sucks. Emotionally, figuratively, kind of, because when you think about it, it's no matter what's happening on the external world, whether you're at a party and it's fucking lit, you having sex, you're eating the best food, you're in a nicest cool environment, inside there's still fear, there's still regret, there's still anger, there's still something that's disconnected, where it's like, man, I should be having a good time, but whew, my mind is constantly running and playing back that's something that happened 5 months ago, 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago, whatever it may be. And then from there, you get so disconnected from reality from within yourself. You're just kind of just going through the motions. And as you're going through the motions, you realize you're not really being yourself. You're just acting to all the external stimulus. And so you're living life because, you know, you gotta wake up, you gotta go to work, but you're not truly connected to your feelings. You're not connected to your mind, body, and soul. And then moving with that intentional purpose of achieving what you desire from within, from a balanced and holistic place. Well, that's my first video. I went 20 minutes. That was pretty fast, to be honest. And I hope you guys like it. If you like what I've said, definitely book a one-on-one reading with me where we can really get down into the soul aspects of what's going on in our lives and, help one person at a time, help people awaken, help bring into this 5D energy. Because, man, come on, the old world is gone. Let's build something new with love and kindness for our neighbors and for nature. Because it's truly all we got. I say y'all, peace.